Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today, guys, we are reading chapter, what is it? Chapter 15 of Racing in the Rain. Exactly. And guys, the dog on the cover of Racing in the Rain looks like the dog on the screen that you're watching right now. Bye-bye. Go away, thingy. Guys, I will delete all of this. Bam, boom, bam. Now you won't see anything. But anyways, guys, we are reading chapter 15 of Racing in the Rain. And let's get started into chapter 15 of this book. Chapter 15, the words tripped by tremendous haste. There was no let up. Denny got his first victory in Laguna in early June, then third place at Road Atlanta, and he finished 8th in Denver. The week with the boys in Sonoma had worked out the kinks with the crew, and it was all on Denny's shoulders, and its shoulders were broad that summer. When we gathered around the dinner table, there was some to talk about. Trophies, photographs, replays on the television late at night. Suddenly, people were hanging around, coming over for dinner. Not just Mike from work, but others too. We were even introduced to Luca Pantoni, a very powerful man at Ferrari headquarters, and Manranello. I never broke my rule about saying about of the dining room. At the dining room. I have too much integrity for that. But I sat up upon the threshold, I assure you. My toenails edged the line so that I could be that much closer to the greatness. I learned more about racing in those few weeks than I had in my years of watching video and television. Zoe clattered away constantly, always something to say, always something to show. She wouldn't sit on Denny's knee and with her big eyes absorbing every word from the conversation. Then, at an appropriate moment, she would declare some racing truth. Denny had taught her slow hands in the fast stuff, fast hands in the slow stuff, and all the big men would be impressed. I was proud of her in those moments, since I was unable to impress the racing men with my own in through Zoe. Eve was happy again, and she took what she called mat classes and gained muscle tone. Her health had greatly improved, with no explanation. No more headaches, no more nausea, and Denny seemed to be happy together like in the old days. Yet for every peak, there's a valley. Denny's next race was very important. A good finish would solidify his position at Rookie of the Year. In the race at Phoenix International Raceway, Denny got into the crash at the first turn. This is a rule of racing. No race has ever been won in the first turn, but many have been lost there. He got caught in a bad spot. Someone tried to pass him going into the turn, and the brakes locked him. Tires don't work if they aren't rolling. In full-out skid, the other car slammed into Denny's left front wheel, destroying the car's alignment. The front of the car was skewed, so badly that his car crabbed up the track, taking seconds of the lap time. Elegant brake lock up, crabbing more jargon. What matters is that Denny's car was broken. He finished the race, but he finished dead last. It just doesn't seem fair, Eve said. It was the other driver's fault. If it was anybody's fault, Denny said, it was mine. For being where I could let it happen. This this is something I'd heard him say before, getting angry at another driver for a driving incident is pointless. You need to watch the drivers around you, understand their skills, confidence, and aggression levels, and drive with them accordingly. Know who is driving next to you. Any problems that may occur have ultimately been caused by you, because you are responsible for where you are and what you are doing there. Still full or no, Denny had crushed. Zoe was crushed. Eve was crushed. I was too. We had come too close to greatness. We had smelled it. And it smelled like roast pig. That doesn't make sense. Everybody likes the smell of roast pig. But what is worse, smelling the roast and not feasting? Or not smelling the roast at all? August was hot and dry, and the grass all around the neighborhood was brown and dead. Denny spent his time doing math by his figuring. It was still possible for him to finishing in the top 10 in the series and likely win Rookie of the Year. Either result would assure him of getting another ride the following year. We sat on the back porch basking in the early evening sun and the smell of Denny. Freshly baked oatmeal cookies wafting from the kitchen, Zoe running in the sprinkler, Denny massaging Eve's hand gently, giving it life. I was on the deck massaging Eve's hand gently. I was on the deck doing my best impression of an iguana, soaking up all the heat I could to warm my blood, hoping that it all absorbed enough. It would carry me through the winter, and it would likely be cold, dark, and bitter winter. It's a hot Seattle summer. Usually signifies, I miss you when you're not here, Eve said. So come with me next week, replied Denny. Zoe will love it. We'll stay where they have a pool. She loves anything with a pool. And you can come to the track for the race. I can't go to the track, Eve said. Not now. I mean, I wish I could. I really do, but I've been feeling good lately. You know, and I'm afraid the track is so loud and it's hot and it smells like rubber and gas. And the radio blasts static into my ears, and everyone shouted at each other so they can be heard. It might give me I might react badly to it. Denny smiled and sighed. Even Eve cracked a smile. Do you understand? She asked. I do, Denny answered. I did too. Everything about the track, the sounds, the smells, walking through the paddock, the inner circle of the track where they work on the cars, feeling the energy, the heat of the race motors. Coming from each pit, the electricity that ripples up and down the paddock when the announcer calls the next race going to start up, watching the frantic scramble of the start, and then imagining the possibilities. Denny and I fed off it. It gave us life, but I totally understood that what filled us with energy could be irritating to someone else, especially Eve. Denny and Eve looked out to the lawn, and I looked with them, and we all watched Zoe, her wet hair clinging to her shoulders and glistening locks, and childish bikini and tanned feet. She ran circles around the sprinkler, and shrieks and squeals and laughs echoing through the central district streets. Chapter 16, guys. I might read this chapter too, but yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna read this chapter too, guys. So, guys, just keep watching this video. Chapter 16. Your car goes where your eyes go. We went to Denny Creek, not because it was named after Denny. It wasn't, but because it was such an enjoyable, able hike, with Zoe clumping along in her first pair of waffle stompers. Me cut loose on my leash. Summer in the ketters and alders. The beaten path is packed down, making long strides easy. Off the beaten path, where dogs prefer, is a soft and spongy bed of fallen needles. And the smell, richness and fertility, growth and death, and food and decay, just waiting for someone to smell it, lingering close to the ground in layers. A good nose like mine can separate each odor to identify and enjoy each distinct scent. I rarely let myself go, practicing to the restraint like men are. But that day I ran through those woods wildly, like a crazy dog, driving through the bushes over the fallen trees, giving gentle chase to chipmunks, barking at the jays, rolling over scratching my back on the sticks, and leaves the needle and earth. We made our way along the path, up the hills and down, eventually arriving at the slippery slabs, as they are called, where the creek runs over a series of broad, flat rocks, pulling at the same points, streaming at other kids. Kids love the slippery slabs as they slide through the stream, and so we arrived and drank the water cold and fresh, the last of the year's snow melt. Zoe and Denny and Eve striped down to the swimsuits and bathed gently in the waters. Zoe was old enough to slide by herself, and Denny took the lower, and Eve took the upper, and they slid Zoe down the stream of water, Eve giving a push and Zoe slipping down. The rocks weren't slippery and wet when dry, but when wet, there was a film on where am I? The stream of water. Eve giving a push and Zoe slipping down. The rocks weren't slippery when dry, but when wet, there was a film on them that made them quite slick. Down she would go, squealing and squirming, splashing on the frigid pool at Denny's feet. He would snatch her up and whisk her back to Eve, who would slide her down again. And again, people like dogs love repetition, chasing a ball, going around a track in a race car, sliding down a slide, going around a track in a race car, sliding down a slide, because as much as each incident is similar, so it is different. Denny and Eve pass Zoe back and forth safely between them until Eve dropped Zoe into the stream, and Zoe suddenly pulled her toes from the icy water, upsetting Eve's balance. Eve shifted her weight and managed to set Zoe down safely on the dry rock, but her move was too quick. Her foot touched the creek, and she didn't realize how slippery those rocks were. Slippery slabs and like glass. Her legs went out from underneath. She reached out, but her hands grasped only the air. Her fist closed, empty. Her head hit the rock with a loud crack. And bounced. It hit and bounced. It hit again like a rubber ball. We stood, it seemed like, for a long time, waiting to see that was what was going to happen. Eve lay unmoving, and there was Zoe again, the cause, not knowing what to do. She looked at her father, who quickly bounded up to them both. "Are you okay?" Eve blinked hard, painfully. There was blood in her mouth. "I bit my tongue," she said woozily. "How's your head?" Denny asked. Hurts. "Can you make it back to the car with me in the lead?" Hurting Zoe. Denny steered Eve. She wasn't staggering, but she was lost. And who knows where she would have ended up if someone hadn't been with her. It was early evening when she got to the hospital in Bellevue. "What? You probably have a minor concussion." "No." Why this part, guys? Why this part already? Why? Just why? Only on chapter 16. Why? But they should check it out. "I'm okay," Eve repeated over and over, but clearly she wasn't okay. She was dazed and slurring her words, and she kept nodding off. Denny would wake her up, saying something about not falling asleep. When you have a concussion, they all went inside and left me in the car with the windows open a crack. I settled into the pocket like a passenger seat of Denny's car and forced myself to sleep. Also, we're gonna read chapter 17 because it's just one page. Chapter 17. In Mongolia, when a dog dies, he is buried high in the hills so people cannot walk on his grave. The dog's master whispers into the dog's ear and wishes that the dog will return as a man in his next life. Then a piece of meat or fat is placed in his mouth to sustain his soul on its journey before he comes back to life as a man. The dog's soul is freed to travel the land, to run across the high desert plains for as long as it would like. I learned that from a program of the National Geographic Channel, so I believe that's true. Not all dogs return as men. They say only those who are ready. I am ready. Okay, guys, those chapters were very good. I loved chapter 17. This might be my favorite chapter, guys. But I hope you enjoyed this chapter 15, chapter 16, and chapter 17. And guys, I hope you are having a great day and a great morning. And yeah, hope you're having a great summer too. Bye, guys. See you next time. See you next time, guys.